Toyin, I'm waiting for your book. And I used to think, oh, this is the gibberish of old elderly woman. What's my own with books and all that stuff? I started, I think, the prologue, and I stopped. Because in my mind, I was like, what have I achieved? That was my mindset. Sickle said, what am I going to talk about? There's nothing much I have achieved. So it's when she passed on, that thing came back. Her words just kept coming back. I said, this woman has gone without actually being able to see the book that she so expected me to write. So it was that made me say, okay, look, as a tribute to her passing, I will start on this book and I'll finish it. It was difficult. Funny enough, when I was growing up, because we're only two in my family as in kids, my sister was studying abroad. I lived a lonely life in that sense. It was just my parents and I. So a lot of times I didn't have an outlet to share my experiences. I had this perception, like all young people, children, you think, what do your parents know? So it's not easy. They won't understand. So I took up a journal. I started writing my thoughts and all, to just vent my frustration into the journal. And that's what even pushed me to even write the book, because it made it easier. By reading,
you had records.
I had records. So by reading those things, I'm able to put things in perspective of how and what I went through. It was difficult. It was difficult trying to share. Even I was telling somebody the other day that I had to decide, do I want to tell everybody everything, or do I want to keep some stuff to myself? But I decided that, look, to make it as real as possible, I should be able to open my heart to all the issues I went through, all the thoughts I went through and everything, and that's why I decided to write the book.
So who is this book for?
This book is for that person who is hurting. That person thinks the world has come to an end because they have an issue, whether physical, financial, and all that. It's to inspire you that, yes, you have a challenge, but don't let it reduce you to a box that you cannot achieve anything. For me, I have this word I say. I said, sickle cell, I have sickle cell, but sickle cell does not have me. And that's what I tell my young people when I said, yes, you have a situation, whether it's environmental conditions that is stopping you, but that shouldn't determine you to succeed. I always say that your challenges are only a stepping stone to greater success. So it's what you think about yourself that is important, and not what you think about the illness.
That's deep. Okay, now your dad.
Yes.
Was a legend. It was a legend of surgery. Anytime anybody drives by Adesola, we remember your dad.
Yes.
The late professor. Now, how did he deal with this? And did he see this book before he passed on?
Well, he did. I think, like any parents, he was very protective, but supportive at the same time. He tried to encourage me to do as much as I can within what he felt was the boundaries of not getting sick or not doing things more than I could do. I felt they were overprotective, but I in hindsight, there's an incident that happened years later that I realized that sometimes we think they're being overprotective, but they know best. There's a reason why they do it, and that issue came up, and I realized that, if I had done it earlier, like I insisted, things would have been a bit more complicated. He was very supportive, and he saw the book. I remember the day he read the manuscript before I printed it, he was so overjoyed. He said, "You're going to opera, you're going to..." I've never seen him so elated over a book, because when I wrote it, I just thought, I didn't even think it was going to inspire anybody to that extent. So I just wrote it. To me, it was like a psychotherapy. As I wrote it, I started getting healed of all the bitterness, of all the issues that I've been facing. I started having a positive outlook to who I am and what my purpose is. So he was really pretty elated before he passed, when he saw the book, and supportive throughout, even NGO work and everything. He was very supportive.
Wow. So then, when did the NGO start? The NGO, did it start while you were writing this book?
It was started like about 2 years after I wrote the book.
Okay.
And it came about when I wrote the book. As I said, I didn't expect.
Did the book inspire the NGO?
Yes, the book inspired the NGO.
This is interesting.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. When the book came out, as I said, I just launched it like any other person. I didn't realize I would get this outpouring, and there were people who read it, grown men who read it and said they cried on when they read the book.
Yes.
People said they read it they couldn't put it down. They had to read it within the 2 hours. And out of the blues, I got a call from somebody who was acting on behalf of me, Yoda, and they wanted me to come on the show.
The show.
That time when she had a program, and I came on, and there was issues. We're talking about sickle cell and issues, and a lady said something. She said, "Why don't you be an advocate of sickle cell?" And I was like, "Oh gosh, I have my own problems. Why should I worry about others?" But a year later, I started having this. After the book came out, I started getting calls. I realized there are a lot of issues that haven't been dealt with regarding people with sickle cell. And that issue kept pushing me. God was telling me, start this thing. So I just started it, And since then, there's been no looking back.
I mean, there's so much in what you're saying. So much. One of the most intriguing things I have found out about books is that when you produce a book, it sort of births other ideas, opens new doors, and gives you new opportunities and new projects and so on. So you had this thought to write this book, and then that created the NGO.
The NGO, yes.
And so there's so much to your story. So much. Very inspiring.
Thank you.
Really inspiring. Now, so what kind of reactions have you had to the book now? Is it doing well? Do you have a publisher for it, or is it self-published?
It was self-published. It was self-published. I just said, okay, let me do it, because in Nigeria we're still working, especially back then it was even harder, to get a publisher to actually publish. What we have is our printers, people who print, not publish, and give you royalty. If you are going to be that, you have to be a top-rated author. So
do you have an e-book version of it?
Yes, I have an e-book version on Okada Books.
On Okada Books. Do you have it on Amazon?
Not yet. I'm still working on that, trying to get it on Amazon.
This is a book that we should have millions of copies out there, because it's not just for people who are suffering from sickle cell.
Yes.
Anybody. Anybody who has challenges, anybody who has a dream, and so on. Because we, like you have rightly said, we tend to limit ourselves in our minds. We see all those problems physically, but the real problem is here.
Yeah, exactly.
And what you have done is you've risen above that. You've become big on your inside. And that has helped you to overcome those challenges on the outside. Yeah. How does somebody experience 5 surgeries, 200 hospital admissions? I mean,
it's only good.
And you keep going on.
I marvel at myself when I look back at what I've gone through, and like the book says, I'm still standing. I still use it as still standing. I use it as a point of reference to anybody that, look, yes, you have these challenges, but have a positive light, and also have a strong faith in God, because let's face it, God plays a major role in giving you that boost to
strength.
Keep going on despite whatever you're going through, using His word to encourage you, because it's only in later years I had people who are encouraging me. I had a lot of pity. Hey, sorry, even in hospital, when they see me, I say, oh, she's here again. Somebody once told me one long time when they hadn't seen me in a while that, oh, wow, you mean you're still alive? That they had expected that because of all the challenges I had.
You're still standing.
Exactly. So, it's been a difficult ride, but I thank God that I'm using my experience to impact other people.
Are there any medical breakthroughs now dealing with sickle cell? Any medical breakthroughs?
There's a limited cure. Why I use the word limited is because it's not available for everybody, and it's expensive, which is bone marrow transplant or stem cell transplant. And but you have to, the highest you can be is 17 years, and then you have to have a match from your sibling for it to work. And then again, it's expensive. It's not affordable for everybody. Only people who can afford it can do it. I've had 1 or 2 people who've done it. I know one personally, and it works, but it's not something that is widely available. So there are drugs too that have been used to reduce the number of times you have crisis. Some are working. We have hydroxyurea. The challenge we have with that is that it has so many side effects because it was a cancer drug. So they're still working to improve on it. And in our society where health facilities are not too good,